Today we have Mid-Cell joining us, Oliver Hunt. Do we have them online? Great. So this is one that Councillor McDonald put on to us, and so he's had a tour and found them really impressive, and thought that would be great for us all to have a look and see what they do. Okay, welcome, Oliver.
Hi there. Let me just get my screen share set up.
So
cool, that'll working?
Yeah, you'll have had a chat to Sam and know that you've got 5 minutes. And I don't know if you won't be able to see the clock, but it'll be really good to hear what you guys do. Cool.
Yeah, so I'm Oliver Hunt. I'm the founder of MedSolve, and I founded this organisation in 2017 as part of my master's project. So that's me. And our vision is to deliver sustainable healthcare all across the world, and obviously that's better value, more environmentally efficient, and sustainable in all of the dimensions of sustainability. The problem that we solve at MedSolve is that our hospitals in New Zealand spend millions of dollars on imported single-use medical devices, which ultimately, after one stop at a hospital caring for our patients, end up in landfill. And this is a problem that's been exacerbated by the rise of single-use devices, which has come off the back of pandemics and epidemics, actually in the 80s originally, but we'll probably see some more devices coming in with a single-use label more recently because, or into the future because of things like COVID. And given that we have a huge number of surgeries in New Zealand annually, that's a lot of waste. So what we do provides for hospitals to have a healthier way of spending their money, to create a healthier planet, and ultimately give us healthier people. And in the COVID times, or in the times where you have large boats getting stuck in big canals, we also provide supply chain resilience. This is pretty much how it works. So hospitals use the product, the original product, we then collect it, and then we remanufacture it. So we subject it to a whole bunch of testing to check that it can still work, cleaning obviously, and then packaging it, returning it to the hospital. And that all happens in Christchurch in our ISO accredited facility, which is what Councillor McDonald came and had a tour through recently. So I started MedSolve in 2017 as my master's project, and that was put through the University of Canterbury Summer Startup Program. We got the CDHB on board as our first customer in 2018, towards the end of the year, and we were supported into our proof of concept plant by the Canterbury Joint Waste Committee. So we now supply over half of the hospitals in New Zealand, and we have delivered more than 50,000 products into those hospitals. And if we look at the CDHB, based on the original product prices when we brought the products into the CDHB, they have saved over $200,000 at last check, and it's probably nearing $300,000, but we haven't assessed those numbers for a few months. So this is our reach. All of these green dots represent hospitals that we're working with. Now, obviously, there are a lot of hospitals that are grouped in Auckland, but we move our products using reusable cartons, so we don't actually have cardboard in our forward supply chain other than for very, very small deliveries, and we use rail where practical, and we do not air freight, which is where 80% of our products come from when they get brought into New Zealand. In terms of traction or the impact, the support that the Canterbury Joint Waste Committee gave us, which was the first supporting organisation by grant, we're now in, so there's 63 surgical hospitals in New Zealand. We're supplying 32 of them, so just over half. We're working with 4 out of the large 5 DHBs, and the CDHB was the first one there. And we're driving towards specifically 7 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So these are the 7. Good health and well-being, that's relatively obvious in that we are increasing the amount of value we get for the health dollar. We only use clean energy in our work, and we offer decent work to the people that work for us, and also we're the only company in the Southern Hemisphere that does what we do. So there's a bit of innovation in there, and obviously economic growth for Christchurch. We reduce the amount of products that are made in high carbon economies, and our bread and butter is basically responsible consumption and production, which means reducing the amount of products that we use to serve our communities. On top of that, when we remanufacture a product, we use create far less carbon emissions than when that product's manufactured and then shipped halfway around the world. So climate action is higher on our radar too. We're a finalist in this year's Innovator and Business for Good Awards for the Canterbury Champion Awards, and in 2019, which was 1 year after we started trading, we were the winner of the Business for Good Award for Canterbury as well. For all the people who are watching and aren't in a hospital, you can probably still help. So when you next go into your hospital, be that a public hospital or private hospital, or even a primary care facility, ask your hospital what they're doing to be sustainable. And that could be stuff they're doing with us, or one of the many other programs that we sort of endorse around New Zealand to reduce waste. Thank you.
Kia ora, thanks so much. That's really impressive. Unfortunately, we're out of time for questions, but I'm sure that if councillors are wanting any further information, they'll be able to get in contact directly with you and maybe go for a tour like Sam did. It looks really impressive.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on.
Okay, thanks so much, Oliver.